Never let a necromancer be your navigator. They keep taking me down all these dead ends. What's going on, YouTube? It is Friday. It is the weekend, which means we are going over the Hollow City inside of Cold Harbor to go over our first of 2 golden vendors. Also, this man is not 5'14". I am actually slightly taller than that. I'm actually closer to 6'6". I'm actually 6'5 3/4. But we go over these bad mamma jammas to show you if there's any items worth getting in the furnishing vendors. We start off with shrines, and we have a brand new shrine items, but it is a brazier. Now this brazier is interesting. Let's go through all the items here so you get an idea as to which ones are here in the vendor this weekend. And as always, the nice thing about these bad boys is that you can buy these and sell these, and usually they take a long time to come back. Usually a handful of months at the earliest, usually about a year. So when we're talking about these items here, I think the best ones are these sigils at the bottom. You can see that some of these, such as Julianos, is gaining almost 50% of its value as profit. This one's getting slightly less. This one's getting, around 30 some odd percent. This one's gaining over 50%. I mean, that makes sense. Akatosh is a dragon. We have even the sigil stand, which gets a little bit of value. Most of these items, though, are pretty close. Like these ones up here, they might seem appealing because they're gold, but you can see they don't really get as much value over time as some of the other ones, except for the sword because it's a sword. I mean, come on. But then you get the Alternate Divines, which is also pretty decent. This new item I don't think is going to be super good. The Brazier, Blackwood, you can see Braziers just don't do very well. Blue Flames are also very common. If this was like Pink Flames, then maybe we'd be talking, but very generic. You see literally another Blue Flame. So overall, Luxury Furnishing Vendor is pretty good. Definitely has got some good sigils down here. Akatosh, RK, and Julianos are definitely the best ones, but nobody ain't gonna complain about Dabala as well too. So good items all around. Let's see what we got in the next one. And as we go into our second vendor, please hit the subscribe button. We just hit 33,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much again. We are 57 subscribers away from our next goal. But if you ever are wondering additional information about the golden vendors, please check out esohelper.com, our home brewed website. Cyrodiil's not looking too shabby right now. And we go and we talk about the sets that are here, because we start with a dungeon set. Mephalah's Hand comes from, I believe, Cradle of Shadows? Cradle of Shadows. When you take damage, you encase the ground beneath you in webs for 5 seconds, reducing the movement speed of your enemies within a 4-meter radius by 33%. Apply Minor Breach to them, which reduces their physical and spell resistance. Then, after 5 seconds, the webs burst into venom, dealing poison damage. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. So, this is a set that I think just does a lot, and it's 2, 3, and 4 is healing taken, max health, armor. So it's fine, but it's not one that you necessarily are really chomping at the bit to use. Reducing the movement speed of your enemies is definitely helpful. Minor Breach you can do very easily in 2025, so it's really not that huge of a benefit. And being able to do it against PvE enemies, yeah, applying major breach in an area is fine. You're dealing a little chunk of poison damage. The problem is the set's just trying to do too much. Should a tank be running this to snare? Not really. That's not super helpful. Minor Breach is pretty common, and this poison damage you're doing is pretty mediocre. I'd give it a 6.5 though, not because any one of those things is very good, but you can't deny that you are doing a lot of things, even though it's like, what's the best usage for this set? I don't even know. Somebody tell me in the comments below. Somebody be like, oh, Jake, actually, everybody uses this and let's run specific dungeon, because if you reduce the enemy speed, you instantly win. Next up is from Reaper's March, and it's the Soulshine set. Now, this is a set that I think is actually a little bit slept on. It is a base game set that's pretty easy to activate. So activating an ability with a cast or channel time grants you 369 weapon and spell damage for 5 seconds. You do not have to be on your front bar to use this. What does that mean? Let's say I'm on my back bar. Let's say I got 3 pieces of Clever Alchemist on, right? And the 3-piece body pieces, and then my front bar is an arena weapon. My back bar is a Vatestrand Ice Staff, or excuse me, it is a Clever Alchemist Ice Staff. So I drink the potion on my back bar. I could go to the front bar, have the bonus of Clever Alchemist and the bonus of an arena weapon. It's the same here. You're on your back bar, activating an ability with a cast or channel time, which that's like 90% of subclassing skills that are half decent. You get 369 weapon and spell damage. Unnamed buff will stack with every other major and minor buff, and you can take it back to your front bar. The only real criticism of this set is it's 2, 3, and 4 are fine. Magicka, crit chance, weapon and spell. It would be better if it was just straight weapon and spell damage or something a little bit more synergistic together. But I think this is easy, like an 8 out of 10. If you're looking for like an easy to use, easy to pilot, back bar, damage inducing set where you can then still run a full monster set, or an arena weapon and a mythic, or like really try to push in extra stuff because you're only using 3 pieces on your front bar and then using your 2-piece back bar, and then using, something crazy on your front bar. You can easily get away with doing something pretty good with this. I would say it's a great set, 8 out of 10. Moving on. Next up is another old Overland set. It is the Way of Air. So this one gives you stam recovery, increase the radius you can detect sneaking enemies by 2 meters, which is weird, but not terrible. Stam recovery again, and then when you roll dodge, your weapon and spell damage is increased by 391 for 6 seconds. So again, everything we talked about before still applies. You could still easily take this from your front bar to your back bar, or your back bar to your front bar, depending on how you want to build yourself, and take that buff with you. Now, is it the best buff to have? Not necessarily, but as far as cooldowns go, it's pretty decent. The biggest problem with a set like this is it's 2, 3, 4 doesn't really help you a lot, but I will say a lot of people are subclassing into passives and skill lines that give you a lot of recoveries. So if having a 2, 3, and 4 that gives you this much stam recovery keeps you from having to do that, I still think you can make a great set out of this. So I give it an 8 out of 10, probably a generous 8 out of 10. There are people that love sets like these because it's super easy to proc. Just roll dodge in your back bar, or assault back to your front bar. You're Gucci. And if you guys are very confused what I'm talking about, you guys can look at my Green Goblin build. It uses this very same, metric on how to build, basically by adding a mythic as well as a monster set and 2 5-piece sets in, so it's not as confusing when you see it on an actual build. But 8 out of 10. Next up for Spindle Clutch 1 and 2 is the Spelunker set. It gives you stam recovery, weapon and spell, reduce the cost of your Undaunted abilities by 10%. When an ally uses one of those Undaunted ability synergies, you restore some magicka and stamina. It can only occur once every 5 seconds. So I'm just going to say this is like a 5 out of 10. I mean, immediately, it's fine. You're getting reduced cost to your Undaunted abilities, but you're really like trying to think like, okay, well, if I use the synergy orbs, I can get a bunch of recovery. But the problem is you really can't, because like if there was no cooldown on this, sure, you could use this as a great support set for huge conflicts where everybody's popping your synergies and you might be able to get some good value out of it. And then you could see Undaunted abilities used wibbly bibbly. Problem is, who's using Undaunted abilities and what type of content? Yes, you might see some in PvP, rarely, or even PvE. And if you are, what value do you really get from that? Not a lot. It's a 5 out of 10. This is an average set. If you put this on and you just started doing content, you'd be like, yep, this is base level. It doesn't make you worse. There are sets that arguably make your experience worse. This is not one of those, but it is a 5 out of 10. Next up is from Tempest Island, and it is Stormfist. So it's a 1-piece stam recovery, 2-piece. When you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a Thunder Fist to crush the enemies, dealing shock damage every 1 second. And then after 3 seconds, to all enemies within 4 meters, and a final 5250 physical damage when the fist closes. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. So you have a chance to create a Thunder Fist, deal some shock damage and then it deals some more physical damage afterwards. So a set like this to me is good. It's also really nice because this is a base game set. It's great for PvE because it's super easy to acquire. Especially during the Undaunted Celebration event, which is September 18th through the 30th, you guys can easily go and get the helmet to this if you're, not very averse to going and farming PvE content. There's be tons of people doing Tempest Island. It's very easy. It's a great starter monster set. If you're not interested in getting mythics, you don't have the ability to get mythics, you're new, this is a great set to do. So I would say this is like an 8.5 out of 10 in the sense that, especially if you don't have DLCs, this is a fantastic set to get. But I have to compare it to DLC sets just because that's the way of the world. But if you're looking for a solo set and you don't have the ability to get the Oaken Soul Ring, I would go and get this. If you are, just trying out ESO's base game before you get ESO Plus, I would get this. It's a good investment for your character, and it's going to give you good value for DPS. And, killing things faster is just good and it looks cool. So you literally create a thunder fist under your enemies. I mean, like, what more could you want? So I would get this monster set if you're considering any of those circumstances that I just mentioned. And finally, another really good monster set, Engine Guardian, also a base game set. This is from Darkshade Caverns 2. Gives you health recovery, and then when you use an ability that costs resources, which I find hilarious, by the way, they might as well just say when you use an ability, you have a 25% chance to summon a Dwemer Automaton to restore 531 stamina or magicka or 2302 health to you every half second for 6 seconds, and this effect can occur once every 10 seconds. This is a great set. It's actually used for quite a large sweeping type of content, but if you've ever gone to Cyrodiil, you will notice a significant amount of people running this set. Ironically, people don't like to tap target for whatever reason, and this is a great set actually to kind of get around that, because if people will constantly hit your automatons with abilities that they're meaning to hit you with, which is kind of funny, and it's a great sustain set. So it gives you the ability to have stamina, magicka, health, a good chance, good uptime, great resources. I think this is a 9 out of 10 set. The nice thing is it's the shoulders. So Darkshade Caverns 2, you could go farm easily, and you don't have to waste your Undaunted keys, because what I hate about, I generally encourage people to use the one Undaunted key roll, right? Because then you can at least get a random set from any of them. You're also rolling for any opal pages if it's during the Undaunted celebration event. You're rolling for any normal, shoulder styles if they're available. You'll know if they're available because it'll be at the tippy top for 50 event keys. So that's how you'll know that they're there, 50, Undaunted keys. So you're not going to get them if you don't see them at the tippy top. But if you buy the one, you're getting a lot of sets, especially DLC ones. I always roll my keys through that vendor. But you don't want to be in a situation where you're rolling it with the Dookie vendors, because then you're going to be getting sets from like City of Ash and Elden Hollow, and you're like, well, that's not very helpful. So what am I supposed to do with that besides hold this kitten who keeps jumping up on my keyboard and distracting me while I'm recording the video? So it helps you save on Undaunted keys by buying a set like this outright and then just farming the dungeon to get the mask. But everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. As a quick recap here, we had 2 fantastic monster sets, a PvE DPS set in Stormfist, and Engine Guardian is a fantastic resource recovery set that's used primarily for PvP. Getting all those resources back is just exceptionally helpful and definitely worthwhile. So thank you guys so much again for watching. We're doing our quick 3 giveaway drawings. All you need to do to enter is leave a comment in the comments below / like on the video. Second thing is just make sure you subscribe. We hit 33,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much again for that. It's a huge milestone, big 3-3. And the third thing is look for a hidden word we flash upon the screen. If you're the first person to find and comment that word, you'll win a giveaway code. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. So you might see me in Helldivers, you might see me on ESO, or you might see me at work, unfortunately, because we're working 2 shifts this weekend. So I'll catch you around, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.